Dr. Marope, Chairperson of IECD Board, Ambassador for Women and Children, Dr. Tanishas, our fellow international delegates, and our very own local delegates. Good morning. Today I'm going to present, as per your program, one of the pillars in building successful ECC systems. And the Seychelles has been chosen to present on the institutional framework. Basically, my presentation will outline the different institutions under this framework that we have here. I will provide some information about the roles of and mandate of all these institutions. And to conclude, I will explain a little bit how all these institutions come together, and if these institutions have worked as a foundation for building our system locally. Just to go a little bit down memory lane, the ECC itself in the Seychelles started many, many years ago, but it gained momentum after the World Conference on Early Childhood Care and Education in 2010, where Seychelles led a delegation to this forum in Moscow, and the delegation was headed by our then Vice President, who is the current President, Mr. Danifort, together with a high-level delegation to this conference. And basically, one of the main recommendations of this conference called on all governments of the world to adopt a broad and holistic approach to ECC. So as you have heard yesterday in the keynote address of Dr. Marope, she outlined the journey from Moscow to now, in particular talking about the strong and political leadership and the will to work together and our commitment as a country to lead by example. Following the Moscow framework, we came together as a country. We had different representatives from different sectors. We developed what we call the Seychelles Early Childhood Care and Education Framework. And as you can see, this was very, very quick. Hardly 1 year after the Moscow conference, we developed a framework for ECC. Basically, we did not have this framework. And for us to work together to have a common vision for ECC and to make sure that the goals and the priorities in the framework are implemented, it necessitated a coordinating and integrated approach towards ECC for us to move forward. So basically, this framework was developed based on children having early learning programs, early learning activities, policies, and other components that will help to influence the overall and holistic development. So we had to not only put in place the framework, but also other mechanisms that will accompany the framework. So basically, following that, we were all ready to start implementing the framework. At times we have, and this is general, I suppose, for many countries, we have very nice policies, very nice framework, but it is an issue for the implementation. But here, we remain committed from day one to date that we have a plan, we have a framework, we need to work as a team to put it together. And that's why we've been chosen to present the institutional part of this ECC resilience system. And ultimately, if we have good structures, good programs, the impact on learning and holistic development of children will be massive. And this is what we want, and I suppose all the countries would like to see also in their countries. I spoke about commitment and the political will and the support that we had. Actually, here in Seychelles, everybody, ECC is everyone's business. So the political will and political support in Seychelles for ECC is great. So as you can see here, I've taken this from the National ECC framework. So the statement of commitment actually showed that at the highest level in Seychelles, our politicians, our high-level authorities agree and endorse the framework, and this shows the commitment of everyone, even at the highest level and down to the implementers. So here is the president, the current president, who was the vice president, and all the ministers at the time in charge of a sector, including the ambassador for women and children. Just to give you a brief snapshot of the structures that we have. Basically, as you can see, we have the high-level policy committee. We have and then we have the ministries. We have Ministry of Education, Family Affairs, and Health. Within each of the ministries, we have what we call sectoral technical teams. This is another very important structure. And then we have the National ECC Trust Fund, the Institute of Early Childhood Development, and then the National Coordinating Committee. Basically, there's a little mistake there. It should be under the Institute of Early Childhood Development. So I'll give more information about the roles of all these different institutions. So the high-level ECC policy was created in 2011. And like I said before, we had all the ministers of the different ECC sectors representing on the committee, including the ambassador for women and children. The vice president chaired the committee from 2011 to 2016, as you can see. It's 5 years to drive this strategy in the institutional framework collaboratively among all the different ministries. And then when the vice president became the president, the designated minister was appointed as the chairperson of the high-level ECC policy committee, and that was 2 years ago. So these are some of the main roles of the high level. I'm not going to go in all the details. So basically, to ensure that we are all committed towards the ECC vision, we all want to work together to make sure that the vision is realized, to ensure that ECC is mainstreamed, and in all national and sectoral plans, development of national framework and finances, and also implementation of strategies. And then also, basically, it serves as a platform to identify bottlenecks and raise any issues, any matters in the implementation of the policy committee. So it deals mostly with all the issues of policies. And the high level know exactly what is happening at all the different sectors because the ministries are there representing their sectors. The sector-based technical teams, it was established in 2012. Basically, a proposal from line ministries for projects, for other initiatives are endorsed by the high-level policy. Actually, anything that we want to implement, it has to go on the high-level policy for them to debate on, to discuss, and to provide guidance, and for the sectors to implement. There are around 6 people on this committee, like I said, and the terms of office is 2 years and renewable. And then also when a new minister change office, then the new minister is appointed to the high-level committee. Basically, the aims of this technical team is to lead implementation of ECC in the ministry or sector. All the issues, matters with regards to ECC are discussed at this committee because the representative also on this committee also share the information to the high level management committee at the level of the different sectors. Develop, implement and evaluate action plans, and this is fed into the national big plan. Also, the technical team compile and submit periodic implementation status report every 6 months on the implementation of the program. And these reports are sent to the high-level committee and also are discussed. If there are issues, the reports go back to the different sectors. If there are anything to adjust before the report is produced. So this is only a little diagram to show the governance of the technical team, because the technical team does not work in isolation. So the technical team is the third bar here, technical team, who are the actual implementers. Some of them are into the operations of ECC. And then we have the sub-teams, because some of the projects in the national team, National Action Plan cannot be implemented by only the technical team members. So some of them are implemented by the schools, by the daycares, by other stakeholders. And then the technical team normally reports to the PS or the CEO of the institution, because the PS need to keep tab on what is happening at the level of the technical teams. And if there are any issues, they bring them to the attention of the PS or the CEO, and ultimately the minister, because the minister needs to know, because she also sits on the high-level committee with the designated minister, so that information can go up and also information can trickle down to the actual implementers. So this structure and mechanism actually bring everyone together, and everybody knows what is happening in ECC in the different sectors. National ECC Trust Fund, and this was also one of the projects initiative of President Danifo. And it is a legal institution, okay? It has its own regulation. And it's managed by a board of trustees with representation from private sector, civil society, ECC sector, finance. And allocation of the budget, we have 1 million rupees the government give to the fund, 1 million rupees every year. And with this 1 million rupees since 2011, we have funded at least 74 projects. And these are the projects. Sorry. And these are the projects down my slide that we have funded. Basically upgrading, procurement of materials, all to do with educational materials and equipment. And in 2016, the government increased the fund to 1.6 million rupees, and of which childminders who have registered with the IECD also receive a grant of a one-off grant of 10,000 rupees, and this also forms part of this budget. And if we look at the other financial assistance, it doesn't fall under the trust fund, but I've just put it there because I might miss it. We have a subsidy, a direct subsidy that the government gives to the parents who have children in childcare centers. And we also provide a subsidy for the childminders who have registered, ranging from 2,500 to 5,000 rupees. And so far, 78 childminders are benefiting from this, and more than 1,000 parents also are benefiting from this one. So I have to be quick. The Institute of Early Childhood Development is another entity under this institutional framework, which is often described as the institutional anchor, as the glue, I would say, who hold all the different sectors together to work and implement the ECC framework. So basically, our role is to provide leadership, strategic direction at national level, advise government on government projects and other issues, policy issues, and also to become one of the leading, as our mission, institution for ECC regionally, and why not globally. Roles are basically regulatory, coordination, research, advocacy, information, and promotion. The National Coordinating Committee, like I mentioned initially, is the committee with all the different chairpersons of the technical team. We work as a team. We meet on a monthly basis to discuss issues with regards to national action plans and other initiatives in ECC. And this is the structure of IECD I've just talked about. And IECD also is the governance aspect. As you can see, it is directed by a board of directors, and that was set up in 2015. And for the regulatory affairs section, we're also going to regulate the daycare centers, and preparations are underway for us to regulate the daycares, which are currently under the Ministry of Education. And actually, this is the slide that shows the interconnection with all the different structures that I've talked about. Basically, we have two levels of coordination. We have policy level coordination above the red bar, and we have the operational level of coordination. I think this is why this Seychelles system is quite unique, because when we were putting together this system, we didn't see a system similar to that, across the globe, because it's a homegrown system, and it proved that it has worked. And this also has led to Seychelles being the best practice hub. As you can see, everything are interconnected. And the beauty of this is that everybody has a clear and common vision about ECC. And we work together to make sure that we deliver on the different strategies and priorities that we have for our children. Obviously, the structure is working. It has worked. It has surpassed our expectation with regards to coordination, collaboration, working together for the common good of the children. Like I've said, and this is based on the support that we get from our leaders, the increased collaboration and synergy we can see from this, from the institutional framework. The collaboration has been strengthened. We have a national action plan for every 2 years, which bring us together. Better monitoring and evaluation of the ECC projects and their completions. We have better services for our children. I'm not saying that we don't have challenges, there are, but generally we can see that things are moving in the right direction. We have also increased understanding of ECC. Everybody is talking about ECC these days. Everybody knows about ECC. We did a research in 2015 and 2017, and 88% of the respondents actually knew a lot about ECC, which is very encouraging for us, because all our efforts and everything that we do are actually yielding results. and intersectoral interchange and interaction. All are some of the things that we have noted. So with this, I'll thank you for your attention. Merci.